You are listening to Logistics Rocks, the podcast about the rock stars of the logistics industry. Welcome to the third rocking season of Logistics Rocks, and this time we are going to talk about blockchain technology. I know that blockchain has been around for a few years. It's past the peak of the hype curve, and now there are some companies who are really getting into the industry. They are evolving fast, and we are going to talk to two of them in this volume. We're going to talk to Deanna McDonald, who is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Block, and we are going to talk to Sam Rusani from a company called Shipchain. And before we give the mic to Sam, I'm going to introduce you to my choice of rock song for this volume, and that's, of course, Blockbuster by Sweet. So if you go to Logistics Rocks in Spotify, you will find a playlist not only of the songs from this volume, but also of the episodes, because now Spotify is able to mix podcast episodes and songs. So if you want the full experience of Logistics Rocks, go to Spotify and play the full volume, where you will get both the chapters, both the episodes, and the accompanying songs. So while we're listening to Blockbuster from Sweet, sit down and become ready, because Sam Rusani is about to take the mic. Welcome to Volume 3.
Hey, my name is Sam Rusani. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Shipchain.
Welcome to Logistics Rocks.
Thank you very much.
And I know you picked a song.
I did.
Yeah?
Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I think it's a modern classic.
It's a modern classic.
Yeah, definitely.
How many times have you seen Foo Fighters?
I've only seen them once, but I'm going to see them in October, actually, at the Cal Jam event in LA, or outside of LA.
Yeah, that's where you live. You live in LA. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So, but you're from Sweden?
I'm from Sweden, born and raised in Halmstad, which is about an hour south of Gothenburg.
Mm-hmm. We are in Gothenburg now, and we are recording this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and thank you for traveling to Sweden to be in my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. All for you.
Yeah. What do you do? What's your company?
Shipchain is a solution provider that utilizes blockchain technology in the transport and logistics industry. So what we do with that is that we've built an ecosystem that integrates with current systems and platforms, so that you can perform different functions on the blockchain. Mainly for us, it's track and trace and document handling initially.
Track and trace, I think most logistics people know what track and trace is. And there's a difference between tracking and tracing and so on.
Yeah.
But blockchain.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely everyone has heard about blockchain.
Yep.
Most people think about Bitcoin,
cryptocurrencies,
you buy drugs and weapons online, stuff
yeah.
like that, illegal activities. But the blockchain technology, of course, has other uses.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's super important to make the distinction between blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are driven by blockchain technology, but blockchain technology in itself is so much more, way much more. And also, I mean, while cryptocurrencies are important for whatever they do, if we take a genuine look at the world of criminals, I would have to say that, what currency has been used to buy the most drugs and guns, it's definitely not Bitcoin, right? It's probably the US dollar. So
probably, yeah. We've all seen Narcos.
Yeah, exactly.
And the TV shows.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was an early iteration of people having that mindset. But today, cryptocurrencies are way more important than just buying illegal stuff online. They're transforming the world together with, of course, the driving factor of the blockchain technology.
And can you explain what's the thing about blockchains?
Well, the thing about blockchain is, if we start briefly, so to speak, I think, is that it's decentralized and it's also immutable and tamper resistant, right? Which means there's an important keyword here, and it's provenance. Provenance means we can trace something to its true form and true point of origin and audit every single step of the way along for example, the supply chain, right? Or if it's along a transaction channel or whatever it is. Traditionally, we had to trust a institution, for example, right? That they would take care of your data and they would handle everything and not manipulate it in any way. Now, we've seen that go not so very well, for example, with banks, or if we look at transport and logistics. I mean, I don't have the numbers for Sweden or Europe, but only in the US, more than $30 billion worth of theft is reported every year. And that's a low number because not everybody wants to report their theft because it hurts their image. So, I mean, it's a massive problem that we have that we can't really see who has the data, who's responsible for the data, who manipulated the data, because the data's being hoarded, and we have to trust an institution that we maybe can't really trust to handle the data.
I normally exemplify this by using Visa and MasterCard. Everyone trusts Visa. That's why you can pay in a restaurant. The restaurant trusts that Visa will transfer the money to them, and the bank trusts Visa, and I trust Visa. Everyone trusts Visa, and everyone pays a fee.
Yeah, exactly.
To Visa.
Yeah.
And with blockchain, you have no need for that type of function anymore.
Right.
Since it's decentralized.
Yeah.
Can you explain what decentralized means for a supply chain nerd who knows nothing about computers?
Well, decentralized means that there's no longer, if you have a centralized product, right? There's usually one location, one single point of failure. There's a certain institution or an amount of companies you have to trust. Decentralized means that it's now spread among millions of computers all over the world that through a consensus algorithm verifies your whatever it is, transactions, your code, your updates, and that's the whole decentralization. It's a trustless network. You don't need a centralized solution anymore.
When you talk about logistics and warehousing, decentralization is not a good thing. Decentralization incurs costs. When you centralize, you get economies of scale. Yeah, you can get speed and things like that.
But you're talking.
Do you have the same trade-off when you talk about data management, data warehousing, about speed, for instance? I've heard that blockchains are slower. And they consume a lot of energy to maintain them and so on. Yep. So of course there are no silver bullets. There are drawbacks.
Of course. I mean, I have to. I think it's really important to emphasize the fact that although I'm a major blockchain advocate and I work with it and all that, we're in the infancy of this technology now.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near where we want it to be. It's like the internet 1995. We were calling it up with modems and it was super slow. It took half an hour to load a web page.
But so cool.
Yeah. But so cool, exactly. We knew something big was coming and it's going to change the world, but we're not quite there yet.
No.
As of right now, we have lightning fast internet, right? We can do whatever we want. So that's where we are. We're in the infancy of the technology. So yes, there are scaling issues, which are being worked on, and new blockchains are being launched, and etc. So all those, it will be solved very, very soon. Yeah. I mean, there's literally hundreds of billions of market cap on these blockchains with tokens and projects. They have to upgrade. They have to. I mean, it's going to happen inevitably.
Talking about money, this is a question I always ask.
Yeah.
You have $10 million. You have to invest them in a related sort of. You cannot buy Bitcoin for them.
Right.
I also say that to everyone. Actually. Yeah. What would you invest in?
In the transport and logistics industry,
or something similar? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. Either or. I would definitely invest in AI and blockchain projects. That's very
interesting.
Yeah,
could you elaborate?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're entering what's a lot people smarter than me have called the fourth industrial revolution, right? So it's driven by AI, IoT, and blockchain, and you can of course transport and logistics like putting in machine learning and automation or automation and robotics and all that stuff. But this is where the world is going. This is where the big companies are coming out. Just like we had, when internet came out, or databases, we had Oracle and we had Google and we had all that stuff. And this is a new era again where these companies are going to pop up that are going to be major disruptors of the world.
Yeah. Could you give an example of a combination of AI and blockchain? Are there any out there, or is this sort of in the future?
I would say it's at a somewhat of a test and beta phase at this point, because AI isn't really where we want it to be yet. But here's how it works together, because you have AI that's self-learning, for example, right? It goes out and it does stuff. It automates. It helps calculate all these things that we no longer need mundane minds to do, right? But again, why is blockchain involved? Because we have to save the data, and we have to be able to see all the updates that have been made along the way without having to trust Skynet, right? Oh, are you building Terminators? Nobody knew. Oh, okay. Do you see what I mean?
But are we building Skynet?
I hope not. I saw an interesting IBM presentation because they have their Watson thing, and they pour a lot of money into AI, and so does other
and blockchain
companies. And blockchain, yeah,
together with Maersk, yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Private blockchain though, but I really think they said a very cool thing, which was, a lot of people think about these dystopian, post-apocalyptic movies that are because of, Skynet and Terminators and all that, because it's man versus machine. But let's take a look at man with machine, and I think that really makes sense. I think there's so much you can do with AI and tech, but is it the one and all solution for everything? No. That's why this industry I've noticed now are like, oh, blockchain, and then they start rolling their eyes because it's so hyped, right? It's almost like I could sell weight loss products with just because it's called block weight, lose weight with blockchain, and people would buy it, right? So would you need blockchain to lose weight? No.
But it was the same thing with internet when we had our modems in the 1990s.
Yeah.
If a company sort of changed their business model to work with the internet, the stock market doubled.
Exactly.
The stock price doubled. So,
exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of to me, it's a kind of a ridiculous phase where you have all the money makers coming in now, right? The money grabbers. They want to make a quick buck, which kind of ruins it for everyone else.
Yeah.
Because this is truly a technology that will disrupt and redefine many huge industries in the world.
And you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do in your company? You said you had an ecosystem for tracking and tracing.
Yep.
So let's say I'm a freight forwarder. How can I use your system?
That's an interesting question. If you position yourself as a freight forwarder, right? Because forwarders and brokers we've had many discussions with both small and big freight forwarders and brokers, and some of them are absolutely loving it, and they say, "Wow, how can we use this?" While others have called and yelled in my ear and said, "You bastards are, I'm losing my job here." Like, you see what I mean? So I think what's going to happen with especially brokers and forwarders is that they're going to have to redefine their business models. Because this is where the world is going. Maybe let me take a step back and explain, because why we're doing this is because the companies we're talking to that are huge international conglomerates, mostly to start with, because those are the ones we're doing pilot programs with. When you track something, we do containers and pallets, right? So we're not touching parcels at this point. But you look at a container going, especially internationally and intermodally, it goes through anywhere between 4 to 5 up to, I've seen 14, 15 different tracking systems for it to reach, from Shanghai to Detroit, for example, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane, because that's where the no accountability thing happen, right? And that's where the theft happens and all that stuff, because where in these 14 tracking systems is my stuff? We were talking to an art dealer that handles, very, very expensive art. And he thought his stuff was in New York, but it was stuck in Rome somewhere because nobody knew where it was. So to me, it's like, wow, we're in this world and we landed on the moon, but you can't keep track of a container. Like this This is insane. So that's exactly what we're focusing on. So we're adding a blockchain layer that keeps track of every single stop or position along the way, right? So we're partnering with IoT devices that keeps track of geolocation, temperature, humidity, all that stuff, how many,
and all that data is recorded. And one thing, and you said it very quickly in the beginning, it's the immutability part of blockchain. Once you've written something into a blockchain, you can only add new information. You can never delete. You can never edit.
Yes,
and that's one of the very key.
Yeah, that's the provenance keyword. There is that you can trace it all the way back to the true origin, first version of whatever it is. Nowadays, I mean, with smart contracts, you can have. If it's a document, a line of code, or a digital ID, whatever it is, right? But you can always trace it back to its true origin. The same with document handling, right? That what we're doing, where it's like one of the big companies we've talked to, which is it's a major retailer in the world. I mean, when they're ordering something, it goes out and it's like 800 people involved in an email, and there's PDFs being faxed or emailed back and forth, and all of a sudden they spend weeks just figuring out which is the latest version of this purchase order or the bill of lading. Do you see what I mean? So you put it on the blockchain, you can trace it.
Yeah, the bill of lading is, of course, the obvious example. Because,
exactly.
You need to have a current owner.
Yeah.
And you know that's how DHL started.
Really?
They started out airlifting bills of lading between owners during a sea voyage.
Yeah.
So because whoever owns the paper owns the cargo.
Exactly.
So it's a deed. So
exactly.
So blockchain is, of course, it's like it's made for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I agree. But what you can do is you can lie to the blockchain. You can put information that's not true into the blockchain, but
absolutely,
what you can do is you can see who lied.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So people
since you cannot be anonymous.
Exactly. Yeah. People always ask me, well, so you're talking about all this theft? Is blockchain going to prevent theft? Yeah. No, it's not Skynet. It's not going to send a Terminator out and shoot you because
yet.
right. Yeah. But what it is that exactly what you're saying. It's going to make it way easier to pinpoint what happened and where did it happen.
You could partner up with Boston Dynamics, who makes the robots, and and they could be AI guided.
Yeah, exactly. That's the AI tech there. Alert triggers.
So that's the convergence you talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
So
send out the robots and I'll be back. You know?
So and there are, I mean, literally thousands of companies in the world now focusing on blockchain. Some of them are sort of serious companies, and some of them are gold diggers. Maybe. What's your best advice to someone who really wants to join this movement, to be a part of this field? What's your best advice? What to look for?
I would, read up on what it is first of all. I'm not saying you need to become a tech guru, right? But and look for what team is involved. What's the credibility of the people involved? Because, like you said, I mean, I would almost say a vast majority of all these, especially crypto-based projects are, kind of weird. There are a lot of very, very, very good ones. I'm heavily involved in crypto and blockchain and all that stuff. But at some point you have to kind of admit that there's a lot of crap going on in this industry.
Yeah.
And do your due diligence.
Yeah. And you talked about private. You said Maersk and IBM, they have a private blockchain. Is this the analog of having a proprietary software or proprietary APIs, things like that? If you have a public blockchain, could that enable a multitude of actors to use the same? Because blockchain is just the infrastructure. It's sort of the brick wall where you chisel out your information, and everyone can use the same brick wall. But you own your own data. So is that an analogy?
Pretty much. I mean, the discussions of public versus private, we could write books about that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, the public benefits. You have the economies of scale there, right? The more people using it, the safer it becomes.
Yeah.
On a private blockchain, and I'm not going to bash any private blockchain because they have a function in certain environments. But to me, a private blockchain is just another centralized solution. I mean, because you have someone who owns the blockchain, and then you kind of like make a little pinky promise that, hey, I'll trust you if you trust me, and it's very much a centralized distributed ledger. Do you see what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it in a condescending way or bashing it in any way at all, but it's not, to me, it's not part of the revolution, part of the movement, because that's the public blockchain. That's what it's all about.
But let's say I drink a cup of coffee in the coffee shop down here, and I want to trace that coffee. So in theory, it could be traced all through the supply chain, who owned it, who sold it, when did it get sold, who packaged it, who processed it, who farmed it. Do all of these actors have to be part of the same blockchain? Or could you have a blockchain of blockchains? Because I know that's been discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I again, realistically, in a perfect world, it would be the same blockchain. But realistically, it's never going to be. There's going to be many blockchains.
Of course.
And they need to start talking to each other. Again, we're in the infancy of the technology. It's not perfectly working yet, but it will.
But is it solvable? I mean, we've tried standardizing information sharing in the logistics industry for decades. It's been technically possible since the 1980s. But it's still not done. So will it be done now?
That's a very, very good and very tough question. Will it be standardized?
It's about friction, I think. I mean, once you say, okay, let's use blockchains to store or all this critical data, and of course, companies will not have to store their secret data, and they can encrypt whatever they write into the blockchains and things like that. But data that others need to be able to get hold of, you can store that in a blockchain. And once you've taken that leap to say, okay, we want to store in blockchains, I suppose that there is a possibility then to use metadata to tag information in a way that once I ask a question by scanning the QR code on the T-shirt in H&M, that will trigger a number of queries to the relevant blockchains, backtracking what this T-shirt has been doing for the last 6 months, and who produced it, and so on.
Exactly.
And that information can be distributed in a lot of different blockchains, but they're all connected to the internet.
Exactly. So, that's the thing. So I believe there's going to be, like we've developed, we call it the Axel Gateway, where we've developed an actual gateway, so that you now, with simple API calls from the common programming languages that your developers would know in your organization, can call on blockchain commands that are using another language.
That's absolutely necessary, I think. Because let's say you're in a supermarket, let's say you're in a Walmart or something, and they have products from thousands of suppliers.
Exactly.
And they, even if they're big, they will never be able to force all of these suppliers into the same digital environment.
Exactly.
It's virtually impossible. So either they can only track from their own point of entry in their own system to their own point of exit, which means when it enters their first distribution center warehouse, or if they want to track from origin to destination, from they have to be able to open up to collaborate with others.
Exactly. So that's why we have, I mean, for Shipchain, our motto from the very beginning has always been, we're here to integrate, not to replace. Because coming out saying that, hey, everybody, you need to replace your systems now and work with us, that's completely unrealistic.
It's like all standardization projects. I usually talk about stairs and ramps. A standardization project is like building stairs, where you say, okay, one step up, we can see much more, life is better, the world looks better, nicer from there. Everyone should go up one step. But that vertical leap is expensive. And you need to invest. Which means that you cannot reap the benefits until there are enough people on that step. So that's standardization. If you look at building a ramp instead, it means that every step you take actually takes you higher. It will take you a bit longer. But I'm from the transportation industry, and they have a profit margin of like 1 or 2% in the haulage industry. They will never do an investment that's not instantly repaid.
Exactly.
So they will never invest in something that may yield profit in 5 years.
No, exactly. No, and it makes total sense. Exactly like you say. I mean, that's the thing, and I also think that's why the industry has always been skeptical to new things, right? That are shiny and blingy, but I keep telling them, we have to be realistic here. Is everybody going to use blockchain in 6 months or a year? No. Not at all. That would be impossible.
Or yes, because this is also, I don't know that much about blockchain. I know some about blockchain. But we are now, all serious websites now use HTTPS, encrypted web browsing.
Yep.
And that's part of the underlying infrastructure of the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Don't you think that blockchain will be also an underlying infrastructure for certain types? And then in let's say 5 years, we will not talk about blockchain anymore because it will be an integrated sort of property of information sharing.
Yep.
Of course, you use blockchain-based technology.
Exactly.
That's how you secure information.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. 100% that's how it's going to be.
But I looked at the recent hype curve from Gartner Group.
Yeah.
It came just the other day. This is August 2018 when we do this interview. And blockchain is still up there.
Yeah.
It's down towards the trough of disillusionment.
Yeah.
And that's maybe because all these gold digger companies are now looking at they cannot make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, but I mean, the important thing here is again, when you're realistic, because some people you go in and talk to, they're like, they want to hear the bells and the whistles and the golden unicorns and, and I'm like, wait a second. What we have to do first is get blockchain technology up to par with your current technology. That's the first step of integration, right? Because your current technology has a cap. It has a ceiling where it can't go any further.
Yeah.
Blockchain doesn't have that. So you can go way further up. But at some point, I mean, you have to start with, hey, let's put them next to each other so that the blockchain solution is as efficient as your current solution. You can't come in and say that, oh, hey, in a month, our blockchain solution is going to have you effectivized by 35% and you're going to make millions and millions and millions. I mean, that's this is completely unrealistic.
I think we have to address one more thing also about blockchains, because it's written all over the world right now about the energy usage of Bitcoin.
Yes.
Because they have this math problem that you have to solve in order to proof of work to do the mining, and that's how they build value in the system. Otherwise, it has no value. But when you have another type of blockchain for commercial use, for tracking and tracing, there is no need for that proof of work, which consumes a lot of power.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Now it's just a cryptographic calculation. You calculate a hash, and that's done in a microsecond or milliseconds. So I think that's the big distinction between the cryptocurrencies, which consume more and more energy, and other types of blockchain.
But if you look at, for example, Ethereum, which would be the second largest cryptocurrency, right? They are in the process of switching over what's called proof of stake.
Yeah.
Where you stake an amount of tokens to keep them in the circulating supply in the network, and it makes all the calculations. And so it will no longer require massive GPU mining. Which is of course better for the world because like you said, I mean Bitcoin, I think now consumes more energy than Denmark. Which is kind of crazy.
But I also saw an argument that, but you shouldn't compare it to Denmark. You should compare it to the banking system. How much energy does the banking system consume?
Absolutely.
Or the mining industry for precious metals. How much energy does that system consume? Well, this is still a fraction.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a disruptive technology that will perhaps be able to replace part of the banking system. So you should compare it with that. So
I love that. And I love that because you're taking a healthy kind of point of view on, well, what are you actually comparing to here? But absolutely. I mean, is it a problem? It will become more effective. Bitcoin is kind of the gold standard, right? But it's an outdated technology. In blockchain terms, even though it's only 9 years old.
But I mean, new things happen every day. So.
Exactly. So I mean, the blockchains that are coming out now that haven't been enterprise tested yet, which is why I'm very cautious about them, because Ethereum and Bitcoin they've been enterprise tested for many years now. You've had countries and governments and hacker groups try to hack them and destroy them, and they haven't succeeded yet. But the new blockchains that are coming out they're faster than the Visa network. I mean, they can handle tens of thousands of transactions a second, and I mean, this is just the beginning. Let's have this discussion in 2 years. And we're looking at something completely different.
Let's have that.
Yeah.
Really, I think because this is a topic I will come back to.
Yeah.
Definitely blockchain, because there is so much happening, and it's a very rapid development.
Oh, very much so. And it is that's why I love it so much, is that, I mean, it's going to disrupt so many different industries, right?
Yeah.
Fintech, absolutely.
Yeah.
But transport and logistics is going to have to be completely redefined.
Yeah, but fintech is trying to surf the wave now.
Yeah. Of course they are.
They realize that we are watching, either we watch our death, or we build a sailboat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I always do the comparison between like Blockbuster and Netflix in the US, right?
Yeah.
10 years ago, Blockbuster had 9,000 video stores in the US, the biggest conglomerate of video stores, and everybody's like, oh my God, these are the giant. They'll never go away. 2 years later, they filed for bankruptcy because Netflix came around.
Yeah.
That's how fast it happens.
Yeah, extremely fast.
Yeah.
Extremely fast. I've been looking at China now for the past couple of months.
Yep.
And talk about fast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like 10 years ahead of us in certain areas. So,
Didn't they build a full train station in like 24 or 48 hours or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean, it was just insane projects that they're doing.
And the digital innovation is the companies there, they are growing tens of percent every year. So
I mean, look at country. I mean, you have Dubai. They're investing, what is it, $500 billion into a completely AI and blockchain driven city, and it's just, I mean, it's happening.
Yes, it's happening.
The train is rolling. Get on it or get rolled on. That's what I always say. It's just
So, my final question.
Yeah.
Who would you like me to meet, if possible, and what would you ask them?
For transport and logistics. That's interesting. I think there's a couple of interesting projects. Either it's, you know what? I have a dilemma here, because either I'd want you to get someone from like a very traditional, old school, huge conglomerate, like the DHLs and the UPS and the Maersk and all these Kuehne+Nagel, all these guys, and see how do they see it? Because I've heard different stories depending on which position in the company and what they're working with, or get someone that's just really out there in AI and tech, that's just, the new crazy dude that might be the new Steve Jobs. Do you see what I mean?
You could actually ask me to do both.
Yeah. Okay, that definitely do both. But I would love to hear from it's always interesting for us and for the whole industry, of course, what the big conglomerates are doing.
They're on my list.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sam, for being in Logistics Rocks.
Yes. Play Everlong.
Now we're listening to Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And now we're listening to Foo Fighters. And while we're doing that, we will introduce you to the second chapter in this volume. And this is a chapter where I meet Deanna McDonald, who is the CEO of a blockchain company called Block, who have been using blockchain technology in the world of maritime transport. So next up, let's hear about Deanna.